John 19:26 through 27. When Jesus saw his mother there and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to her, "Woman, here is your son," and to the disciple, "Here is your mother." From that time on, this disciple took her into his home. So there's been one time in my life in which I truly felt God's love. And I'm going to tell you the story behind it. So, my older brother was my main person throughout my life, growing up. He is the most influential person in my life. A lot of people say we're a lot alike when it comes to how we act, you know. I mean, growing up I gained a lot of personality traits from him, and so forth. So, it was me and him until about 5th grade. I would say that when I was in 5th grade, I lost my brother. He was a junior at the time, and it was the start of him doing things that weren't godly. Those kind of things. And it's not like he's the first person to ever do those kind of things, or the last, but he was making poor decisions. For the next 2 years of him in high school, I didn't see him nearly as much, and he just seemed very distant. Then, he went to college, and things got worse. He made choices and didn't really want to be a part of our family. He lived with a few different people, but could never stay at the same place for a while. Then he would come home, and we'd let him back before he decided he didn't want to be with us, and he would leave. And this just became a cycle. During this time, I pretended as if he wasn't alive. I pretended as if he wasn't my brother. You see, when someone makes your mom cry, no matter how, you lose 100% of respect you have for them. There's almost no way you can possibly care about someone that does that. And nothing he did was horrible, but he still made that happen. But I couldn't hate him, because he was my brother, but I couldn't love him. There was just no place for him in my heart. And so I pretended he wasn't alive. People during this time would ask me, "Oh, so how's your brother doing?" And I would respond with, "I don't know, and I don't care," because I really didn't. It was too hard to think about him without getting sad or angry, so I just didn't think about him at all. He was as if I just took him out of my life, put him off to the side, and pretended he wasn't there. And this happened up to my sophomore year of high school. I was always so confused why my parents would always give him another chance when in no way did he deserve it. And most of the time, it was my mom who always wanted him back and always accepted him. She was the one to say, "No, he needs another chance," even after we had given him so many. Now honestly, I thought it was so stupid, like, why? Nothing good will come of it, and nothing did, but it's what they would decide. Then, about this time last year, he was at the lowest point I had seen yet. My parents and grandparents decided to step in and try to help. They helped him figure out stuff, and he got a lot better. He really did. And I could see that every time I saw him, that he was getting a lot better. But I still had a really hard time deciding how I should feel about him. I still couldn't find a place in my heart for him. Then I went on intern. And while I was there, I talked to a friend of mine, and his advice was, "Guess what? He's your brother. You can't change that. You gotta give him another chance. But I get that you can't love him right now, so just fake it until you can." And so that's what I did. Over this last year, I can probably say that, yeah, he's my brother again. I've talked to him a lot more, and have had fun with him. He's even hung out when I've had friends over a few times. It's been a good time. I'm able to smile again when I see him. And I mean, yeah, I'm still working on some respect and some love for him, but he's my brother. I do love him. And I'm so happy I can say that. He's come a long ways, and I'm proud of him. So now's the part where I explain where I felt God's love. And that's the point of this. So, I was telling the story to one of my friends, and when I got to the point of where I say that it was always my mom who let him back and accepted him, I just started bawling. It wasn't sadness or happiness, but I was just sobbing. I didn't know why. I had this weird feeling where I finally understood stuff and just knew that everything in life is okay. I finally understood why my parents would let him come back. In the midst of me sitting there sobbing and realizing stuff, I also had that tingling feeling that you get. I also realized how much forgiveness and love my mom and my dad have. And I realized how much they love me. I went upstairs sometime later, and the first thing I did was I gave my mom a big hug and told her I loved her. Later, looking back on this, less than a month later, I realized I felt God's love in that time. God opened my eyes to the truth of the whole situation. And then I was able to realize that this is how it is for us with God. In the prodigal son story, it's so true. God is our parent that will always love us no matter what we do, no matter how far we stray away from him. He will always, always welcome us back with loving arms. It's amazing. Jesus died so we could have that love and forgiveness. The love between a parent and a child is so powerful. And Jesus loved his mother. While he was on the cross, being tortured, consumed in pain, he made sure that his mother would always be cared for. She had to watch her own son be tortured and killed in front of her. The devastation in her heart that would have caused is unimaginable. And Jesus made sure that she knew he loved her and that she would always be okay by telling his disciple to be his mother's new son. Woman, here is your son. And to the disciple, here is your mother.